For Steve Moriarty, no detail is too small when creating a custom jewelry piece that will stand the test of time. Going so far as to collect the material from the source, Steve's love of geology took root at an early age.
Rocks had always been my thing from early in my childhood, always collecting rocks and just always had an interest. First year at school, the college sent a note home that I should stay in earth sciences. So they knew better than I did, actually. So I went to Ball State. I graduated with a degree in biology and went to work as a chemist. A year of that was enough, and went back with my brother, and we started selling wholesale to jewelers around the Midwest. I'd do the road travel and he'd do the buying. And then we split up in early 80s, and I did the same thing on my own. I started traveling overseas. Then I happened to be in Whitinger's, which was a lapidary supply in Chicago Heights, and started talking to this guy named Jim Larimore. And I just started talking about gem cutting and how I'd tried it and couldn't do it. And so he took me over to his house, and for the next 12 hours sat with me, and I cut my first stone. And he looked at it, he said, you probably should stick with this. And it was then just learning on your own. So it was a kind of a long process. It took me a couple years before I felt confident really to get into cutting and selling my own stones. That's what's great about cutting is you start with this rock that you just look at and go, oh, it's a pretty rock. And then you finish a stone, and it's just very rewarding. It's like art, like anybody that produces artwork, and it's a long process to get it done. It's not particularly fun cutting, but when you're done, that's where the reward is. It's minimum 4 hours, maximum 30. I cut a 570 carat quartz. It was an expensive stone, but really came out beautiful. And because it was so big, it took 30 hours or more just to finish that one stone. All stones crystallize different shapes, so if they're in their natural crystal shape, you'll do one particular cut. Like aquamarines look like a pencil, so you cut generally long bar shapes. You'd like to get the best color, but sometimes you can't cut it that direction because it's going to cut a carat that way, and 5 carats you cut it a different direction. Brilliance is the sparkle you see. That's what makes diamonds so special. It's so brilliant. When you look at a stone, brilliance you can see across the room. Cutters of diamonds cut very specifically. They do cut to ideal angles. Cutters of color don't have that mentality. If diamonds were cut like most color is, it wouldn't be as much of interest, because brilliance is the scintillation, the sparkle you get out of a stone. Only if they're cut correctly do you get that. Cutting correctly is cutting the right angles, making sure the polish is very good. The polish is just, there's no scratches on it, there's no imperfection in each of the little facets you put in the stone. And it attracts people, and that's why we cut for brilliance. Custom was a necessity. When I cut stones, for me to get yield out of a lot of things, it requires cutting some unusual shapes. So you can't go to the catalogs and just buy a mounting that'll fit it. So you're forced to make your own mountings to fit these. Used to be all hand carved. Chris used to carve everything, do everything by hand, which he's extremely good at. But CAD now has so many advantages. The biggest advantage is all the little stones that you put next to a piece. When you design it in CAD, all the prongs are in the right place. So the setter has a much easier time setting. The mountings are more secure. Everything about using CAD is an improvement over hand making it, particularly the time involved. A lot of these stones can last for multiple generations, and passing them down is to some people the most important thing they have. You know, they'll come in and say, well, I've got this stone, it's not very valuable, but it was my mother's. Do you think it's worth putting in another setting? If you think it's important because it was your mother's, absolutely, because there's nothing more important in this business than the sentimental feelings that you have towards something. Heirlooms, things passed down. This is one trade where you can go for hundreds, thousands of years, you know, and it can still be a usable material. We've always, in all time, we've always felt that these things that Earth produces are beautiful and worth owning, and we've fought over them, you know, over the years, and you know, and they've become valuable, and we all are desiring to own these because they are rare, they're beautiful, you know, it's something that pleases the eye.